Hey everyone, how are you? This is the Dr. William Clark podcast. I'm your host, Dr. William Clark. Glad to be with you today. Glad to be back in the saddle with you, and always great to podcast with you again today. I wanted to come on today and talk about a topic that I've kind of addressed in the past over the past couple of years we've been podcasting together, and the topic is what funders wish you would do differently. And this is a topic that I find so interesting because a lot of people come up to me and they want to talk about their projects, which are really cool. A lot of people working on really cool projects. They're working on passion projects. They're looking to launch new entities that are responsive to the needs of the community, and I think that that is so important and vital to our communities around the country. And I think a lot of funders would agree with that too, because the more opportunities we have for nonprofits to give and to serve and to satisfy the needs of our community, it allows us to address those areas that we feel strongly about that needs the attention of someone. And what you're saying as a nonprofit entity, when you say that I am going to launch a nonprofit, I'm going to launch a new program or etc., what you're saying is I am putting my organization and my team on the front lines to help solve a problem that we believe is important. And the cool thing about that admission that you're making is that there's always a funder or a portfolio of funders who absolutely agree with you, who believe that the problem you're trying to solve, who believe that the situation you think needs addressing requires attention and energy and effort. And because they agree with that, they will invest their resources into you and into like-minded providers who will put the effort into helping to resolve this issue. And so that is the great thing about being in this business, being in this work. And we get to not only help solve a problem, but we get to immediately see the benefits of our labor, the fruit of our labor, by going ahead and doing the work and having someone invest and support us. With that being said, there are a few things I do want to share with you that funders wish you would do differently. And I'm sharing this because these are, trade secrets, right? These are things you got to know. But also for those of you who are constantly asking about how do I get funding for this? How do I get funding for that? How do I position my nonprofit for this and that? Here are a couple of things I do want to share with you that I've learned over the years from funders, talking with them, and obviously my own experiences that have helped me over the years. So the three things what funders wish you would do differently. Number one, funders wish that you would engage in quality planning. We talk a lot about planning on this podcast, and we address planning quite a bit on this podcast because, I've discovered years ago that there are multiple ways to get things done. Unfortunately, one of the earliest experiences I had was watching nonprofits, many of them, wait to the last minute to get things done because of the lack of planning, the lack of organization and coordination. And when a grant was due, it was all hands on deck. And, it was a disruptive experience many times for staff and for management and for the clients. And ultimately, they would get these grant apps in. And in some cases, they were successful. And in other cases, they weren't. I'm not going to necessarily comment on the success rate that you may or may not achieve because of how long it takes for you to get a grant app in or the time you wait to do it. But I will say that ultimately it catches up with you when you continuously have this last minute approach to getting grants done. And it catches up with you in the form of staff fatigue, programs not really being efficiently managed and run, outcomes not being achieved, etc. And then also you'll go on a losing streak where you put something in so last minute you forgot to add this attachment or add this piece of information or forgot to answer this question. And all of that is lost because, you waited to the last moment. And what I discovered over time is that the idea of waiting to the last minute does not have to be normalized in the work that I do in the nonprofit space. In fact, I discovered and learned and put to work the importance of planning and strategizing not only the programmatic pieces that we want to deploy within the communities we're serving, but we also, realized that there's importance in planning the grant writing process. I taught on this and I share a lot about this in my Grant Writing 101 Masterclass, my Grant Writing 101 book. The idea of planning the writing process is equally important to planning the programmatic process. And for funders who are on the receiving end of your grant applications, they're on the receiving end of requests to have meetings or a request to submit a letter of intent, etc. They wish that you would engage in intentional planning because it would make their job easier in understanding what you're trying to convey. You are in the business of trying to convey a message that you believe is critical about the customers you're serving and what they need and the value of services that they need that you believe you can provide. If you're not engaging in strategy and development and planning around the delivery of that service, you're doing yourself a disservice, if you will. You're also doing a disservice to the funder who, as I opened up in this podcast saying, they have a similar interest. They have relevant concerns like you. And funders are looking for executors. They're looking for executioners of a joint vision. Hence why they put out RFPs. Hence why they are soliciting proposals so that they can give grants. When they find the right partners and providers who can deliver on this vision or on these services, then the funder can rest easy knowing that we can deploy these resources to this organization to get stuff done. What holds that up is the lack or the absence of planning or not enough time given to the planning process. It's something that we have to spend more time doing as a nonprofit community. For those of you in the startup phase, for those of you who've been around for a while but haven't landed in any grants and you're curious about how that happens and how to get that done, I can't tell you the importance of doing this. And again, funders, they wish you would do this differently. They wish you would just simply engage in planning so that you can organize your thoughts, organize your approaches, organize how you are looking at the work and how you are approaching the work. The second thing funders wish you would do differently is to not ask for money you're not prepared to manage. I think this goes back to the first point, right? Where we have these passions and we have these interests that we're trying to resolve within our community, and we are gung-ho about pursuing them and going after them. And as a result of that, we kind of rush into the process of submitting a grant application, but funders are saying, listen, while we appreciate your enthusiasm, while we appreciate your interest to partner and to work together, and to showcase your ideas, because ideas are necessary and ideas are king, it's not going to move the needle for us if you're asking for money you don't have the capacity to manage. So the question you must have right now is, well, what does capacity mean? What does it mean to not have the capacity to manage the money? If you don't have a data system to manage the data and collect data and give out reports, if you don't have a financial management system, a protocol for how to manage the money, if you don't have the staff in place to execute on the grant and to execute on the ideas, if you don't have a facility where the program can be ran out of, if you don't have the requisite partnerships or community awareness, if you don't have the IT systems, if you don't have email set up, if you don't have a computer, PC, tablet, laptop, whatever, to actually do the work. If you don't have just basic policies and procedures for what you do, you're not ready to manage the money. And I don't want that to be overlooked, and I'm not overstating it either. But I think it's important for those in a startup phase, those who are looking to launch, to understand that while I am one of the biggest proponents of launching and just starting and getting off the ground, that encouragement, that push to start, doesn't necessarily mean that you start the process of pursuing grants immediately. In many cases, if you look at the history of this show, we talk about the starting process beginning at getting the name, getting your EIN, submitting and completing your 501c3 app, getting a PO box, getting a corporate number, getting a simple landing page or a simple website or a social media page, getting basic infrastructure stuff down. Who's going to be managing the money? Do you have a CFO? Can you hire a consultant? Do you have IT systems in place? Do you have at least a makeshift data system in place, even if it's not one with all the bells and whistles, etc.? All of those infrastructure pieces that can be done relatively quickly and through a simple Google search will get you off the ground. Then there comes the process of getting the programmatic pieces started. Maybe you are a new startup and you're trying to figure out, well, how do I get my name out there? One of the fastest ways to do that is to simply volunteer, because you may not have, let me say that, the history to actually get a grant off the ground. In most cases, if you're young, 3 to 5 years of age as an organization, you're not going to get the grant. So one of the ways to get your name out there is to simply volunteer and become a sub provider of a larger organization. And that advice is what I describe often in my history of this podcast show when I mean to get off the ground. That type of stuff can mean the world to your future, to the future of the organization, to the future of the brand you're building, to the future of the customers you're serving, to the future of your career, this new career you're launching. And so the absence of all of those basic infrastructure pieces puts you in a position to not really be able to manage the grant. You can't manage the grant effectively if you don't have that basic infrastructure in place. In some cases, you may realize, maybe I don't want to be a full-out organization. I just want to be an independent consultant that consults in this area. That's awesome. That may work for some people. Again, you're going to have to do some of the basic things to get off the ground. You want to have a basic business infrastructure in place, the basic infrastructure to collect the money that you will get paid on, right? Hopefully you're charging for that. IT systems, right? Data matters. Your PC and all that type of stuff you need, your laptop, whatever you need, internet connection, office space or coffee space, a P.O. box, all that stuff you need, right? It's all about being able to manage the business. Whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit or a ministry, whatever the case may be, if you're engaged in this work where you're doing work in the community and this humanitarian effort, I'm telling you, you have to position yourself to be prepared to manage the grants once they come in. So let's take a break real quick, and we'll be back after this break. Have you ever wondered how large nonprofits consistently generate millions of dollars? Have you ever wondered how to write the perfect grant, or how to successfully manage a grant, or even how to find money beyond grants? Hi, my name is Dr. William Clark. I'm the creator and instructor for Grant Writing 101 Masterclass. This masterclass is over 11 hours of training, and it comes with tools, tips, and tricks on how to generate significant money for your nonprofit. Some students have been fortunate enough to build six-figure programs, and others have been fortunate enough to triple their fundraising results. Whatever your goals are regarding your fundraising or your grant writing, the Grant Writing 101 Masterclass can help you achieve them. To register your seat, simply go to mysixfigurefunding.teachable.com, and you'll be taken immediately into our student access portal where you can access all of our trainings. You can take the trainings on demand at your pace at any time. You can fast forward, you can rewind, you can even interact with other students and me all online from the comfort of your home or your office. If you want to secure your seat today, go to mysixfigurefunding.teachable.com. Again, it's mysixfigurefunding.teachable.com. I'm looking forward to learning with you and growing with you as you achieve the fundraising results you're looking for your nonprofit. So we're back. We talked quickly about what funders wish you would do differently. The first thing we shared before the break was to engage in quality planning. The second thing we talked about was to not ask for money you're not prepared to manage. And then lastly, the last thought I want to share with you about this topic is do not go into a grant application alone if there is a legit reason and opportunity to partner. I've seen it many times where people just refuse to partner. And I think there are a number of reasons for this. People refuse to partner because of a cash grab. Some organizations are in a tight spot and they feel like the only way to close the loop is to go in it alone. Other reasons people go in it alone without partners is arrogance. They feel like they can do it themselves and there's no one that can walk alongside them, partner with them, compete with them, help them at all. Other reasons people go in it alone without partners is ignorance, right? They don't know that there are other people who can help. Here's a fourth reason: people lack creativity. So partnerships doesn't have to be exclusively I'm gonna work with people who do the same work that I do. Partners can be people who supplement other things that I do, and they add value to the things that I do to help me focus on the main thing that I do. And the lack of innovation and creativity around that concept, around that idea, I think limits people's awareness to partner with people. So I'm sharing this with you. I think a lot of mature organizations know this fact already, but perhaps as affirmation and reminders for them. And then new information for the startups that, listen, when you're new and when you're trying to get off the ground, when you're trying to establish your brand, you're trying to establish your organization as a real provider, as someone that can literally come through, not just in a clutch, but come through for all four quarters of the game, you need to explore how partners can add value to that, how partners can strengthen your application, how partners can strengthen your performance history, how partners can strengthen the case you're making for your ability to deliver on services, how partners can help you achieve what is vital for the work that you're doing. And I can tell you from experience and something I just care deeply about, partnerships mean a lot to me. It means a lot to the work I'm doing. It means a lot to how we are looking to advance in the community, advance in the work that we're doing and engaging in. And so I deeply and sincerely encourage you to look sincerely at partnerships, because in so many cases, partnerships can and will get you the grant that you're looking for. It's an amazing, amazing strategy to help you get off the ground, or to help you get to the next grant, or to help you secure your position as the go-to provider. So we just covered all of this stuff for what funders wish you would do differently. They want you to engage in quality planning. They want you to not ask for money you're not prepared to handle. And they want you to go into grant applications with partnerships if you can make it work. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope that you have this information at your disposal as you continue to go on your journey. This is the Dr. William Clark Podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Have you ever wondered how large nonprofits consistently generate millions of dollars? Have you ever wondered how to write the perfect grant, or how to successfully manage a grant, or even how to find money beyond grants? Hi, my name is Dr. William Clark. I'm the creator and instructor for Grant Writing 101 Masterclass. This masterclass is over 11 hours of training, and it comes with tools, tips, and tricks on how to generate significant money for your nonprofit. Some students have been fortunate enough to build six-figure programs, and others have been fortunate enough to triple their fundraising results. Whatever your goals are regarding your fundraising or your grant writing, the Grant Writing 101 Masterclass can help you achieve them. To register your seat, simply go to mysixfigurefunding.teachable.com, and you'll be taken immediately into our student access portal, where you can access all of our trainings. You can take the trainings on demand at your pace at any time. You can fast forward, you can rewind, you can even interact with other students and me all online from the comfort of your home or your office. If you want to secure your seat today, go to mysixfigurefunding.teachable.com. Again, it's mysixfigurefunding.teachable.com. I'm looking forward to learning with you and growing with you as you achieve the fundraising results you're looking for your nonprofit.